Hi guys, Mrs. Allison here. Just wanted to show you my Monday outfit that I wore today. I know that we were trying to be all one color, but instead I went all cardinal and gold. Right down to my socks. All the way to my shorts. Thank goodness for Eli, to my shirt, up to my hat. Go Cyclones! So, I saw a few of you today at supply pickup, and it was so good to see your faces. I hope everyone's doing well today, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. You now have your materials for math. So one of the things that I want you to do is I want you to take out a sheet of paper. I'm gonna ask you for that. So you need to take out your math journal. You need to open up to a fresh sheet of paper. This is lesson 7-1, and today's date is April 4-28-20. Okay, so this is Mental Math and Reflexes, MMR. So I need you to take that out. And I want to talk first and review about prime factorization. So when you have prime factorization, you have the number at the top, and then you have two branches coming down, and this number at the bottom needs to be multiplied by this number in order to get the answer. So for example, if you wrote down the first number as being 6, 6 is not the prime factorization of 6. If you break it into two branches, you'll see that 2 times 3 equals 6. 2 is a prime number, 3 is also a prime number, so you need to circle both the 2 and the 3. And how do you write that prime factorization? You just write 2 times 3. The next number that I want you to work on is the number 9. Okay, so I'm going to go over to my whiteboard over here, flying solo tonight. And I want you to try to figure out what the prime factorization of 9 is, okay? So I'm going to pop off this tab, and I'm going to take a look right here. And when you think about 9, you think about two factors that equals 9. 3 and 3. 3 times 3 equals 9. Is 3 prime? Yes. So you give it a circle. Is this 3 prime? Yes. You give it a circle. So what is the prime factorization? 9 equals 3 times 3. The prime factorization string is all numbers that are just, when you multiply them together, gives you the answer that you started with at the very top. Okay? So that's all there is to it. The next number is 14. So please break that into prime numbers. 14. Okay, the prime factorization of 14. If you take and break it into two factors, it's 2 times 7. So that's what happens when you have numbers that are just broken into 2 and that's it. Let's try a little bit more, not complicated, but just a little bit more involved. The next number is the number 12. So you're going to break that into two sections and then have two numbers that you can multiply to get 12. You cannot choose 1 and 12 because 1 is prime nor composite, so that doesn't fit the rule for a prime factorization. So you could take 2 times 6, and that's true. 2 times 6 equals 12. But 2 is the only number that you can circle. So if you circle that number, then you still need to break down the 6. So there needs to be 2 more branches off the 6. When you do that, you can find the factors of 2 times 3 equals 6. So you have 1 2 circled, and then you have another 2 circled and another 3 circled. So that's 2 times 2 times 3. It can also be written as 2 to the second power times 3. That's in exponent form. The last number that I'm going to give you on our MMR is the number 16. So make 2 branches off, find 2 factors, and then factor anything more out or circle anything else that you need. If you've been practicing your basic facts, this might come earlier sooner rather than later, which is a good thing. So you could have written it as 2 times 8, circled the 2 and worked on the 8, or you could have written it as 4 times 4, and then you would have had to work on both of those. So again, I'm going to take you over to the whiteboard and show you what that final answer looks like. I'm going to erase what I did before. I'm going to show you what it should look like now. So the answer was 16. Oops, sorry about that. The answer is 16. So if you decided to use 2 and 8, the 2 would be circled, but the 8 would still need to be broken down into 2 times 4, and that would allow you to circle the 2. But if we broke the 4 down, it would be 2 times 2. So we would circle both of them. So we could either write the string as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, and that would equal 16. Another way that we could break this down is if we had 16 and we took it 4 times 4. That does equal 16, but both of these numbers are still composite. So I'm going to put 2 times 2 and another 2 branches coming off the other 4, 2 times 2. And I know that these are all prime numbers. And again, would give me the factor string 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So that's a review of prime factorization. The reason why that's attached to this lesson is because we are going to start working on exponents. And when you have exponents, it has the base, which is the larger number, and then the exponent next to it, which is the smaller number off to the top right. So we're going to be starting to work on those and show you what that looks like with place value. So because of that, I wanted to give you that mental math and reflexes point of view. So the mental math today, that's the second section that you need to put down in your math journal, math message. And what I want you to figure out is, what is a true statement? Is 4 to the third power equal to 12? Or is the 4 to the third power equal to 64? This can be found on your math journal page 209. Again, what is true? 4 to the third power equals 12, or 4 to the third power equals 64? If you take a look at the base, you're going to take the base and multiply it as many times as the exponent tells you to. So 4 to the third power would be 4 times 4 times 4. When you multiply the two 4's together, you get 16, and then you have to multiply it by the third 4. So it's 4 times 4 equals 16 times another 4 equals 64. So what is true? 4 to the third power is not 12. 4 to the third power equals 64. We're going to go ahead and move down on this math journal, page 209, and we're going to look at exponential notation. In exponential notation, the exponent tells you how many times the base is used as a factor. For example, 4 to the third power equals 4 times 4 times 4 equals 64. The base is 4, which is the larger number, and the exponent is 3, which is the smaller number up in the top right-hand corner. The product 64 is written in standard notation. So it gives you an example for the very first problem, and it says 5 to the fourth power. 5 is the base, 4 is the exponent, and 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 equals 625. Now they're going to give you another problem, but they're not filling in all of the spots as they would for the first one. They're going to give you the repeated factors. You need to go and write the exponential notation, what the base is, how many times you're multiplying the base, which is the exponent, and the final answer. And you're going to do that for the rest of the problems that are in that example. Then it says exponents on a calculator. Use your calculator to find the standard notation for the bases and exponents shown in the table. Record your keystrokes in the third column and record the calculator display in the fourth column. You may or may not have a calculator at home. If you do, you can try this, and if you don't, that's completely fine. You can use it the old-fashioned way if you need to. 4 to the third power, you would be taking 4 times 4 times 4 and getting your answer. If you have a calculator, you can use 4, and then you use an upward arrow and the number 3 and enter. 4, upward arrow, 3, and enter. And that would equal the same number as 4 times 4 times 4. So that's how you work through page 209. Page 210 is just asking you to decide which answer is right. Is it correct, or should it be something different? So you need to work through that page, make sure you're looking at the directions, you're reading through them, and you're answering the questions. At this point, we were supposed to play exponent ball, but we can't because we don't have the materials at home. So what I would like you to do is make sure for your assignment is to complete page 209, which was the rest of those tables. And if you don't have a calculator, repeat just doing it on paper and pencil. Work on page 210 in the math journal and making sure that you're writing those answers in. And then also working on math boxes, page 211. It says, number 1, circle the fractions that are equivalent. So you're finding equivalent fractions, however many apply. Number 2, you're working with using fractions to find an answer. Number 3, you're finding missing numerators or denominators using equivalent fractions. Number 4, you are applying a rule and then you're getting an answer. So you're going to look and see, okay, in this problem, how can I get from 50 to 5? That's the third number. Then I'm going to apply that rule for all the rest of them and see if it comes true. Number 5, you need to solve. Make sure you're doing the work inside the parentheses first. And then the last problem, it says, how many hours in all did she exercise? So in all, you need to use the appropriate operation in order to solve the problem. And the answers will come tomorrow. And let me know if you guys have any questions. You can always email me and let me know. Otherwise, for attaching your work, this is going to be like in class. We don't attach our work, and I don't really go through your math journals. I just check in with you during the day to see how you're doing when you're in class. So it's going to be very similar to that when you're working in your math journal. You are going to need to submit when I tell you to submit, but if you're working in your math journal and I don't tell you to submit anything and I don't write it in the lesson plan, then you don't need to worry about it. You do need to complete it because then the next day we'll review those answers and then get started with our next concept. Okay? Hope you guys had a great Monday and start the week strong. Make sure that you're following through, you're practicing your basic facts. I got print-offs today, and I know exactly who's practicing and how well they're doing, how many incomplete sessions there are of people that are just bailing out and not finishing the session, as well as those of you that have not even started. So you need to be doing that extra math. If you need a PIN number or you need your login name, please do not hesitate to reach out. I'd be more than happy to help you. Have a great Tuesday. Love you. Bye.